Hello and welcome to Mrs. M. Now today I want to talk about a subject which so many of you have said is a major problem for them, and that is menopause tiredness. And you know what? No, it's not all in your head, ladies. In fact, it is thought that this is one of the major symptoms of menopause, and guess what? It affects 80% of women on a daily basis. Are you feeling better already knowing that fact? I thought you would. Because some women really feel guilty about menopause tiredness and fatigue. And some have said to me that they wondered if it was all in their head or, just part of getting, older. And the answer to that is no, it's not all in your head and it's not all about you getting older. In fact, many women who are well over the menopause years have said that once it's all over and they've settled down, that they get a sudden burst of energy again. So, don't beat yourselves up about menopause tiredness, but accept it's a genuine symptom. So will you always feel tired on the menopause? No, this is not always the case. A few women going through the menopause do feel tired all the time, whereas others feel tired now and again, and some women feel tired with other associated symptoms. And some ladies will notice that they're having a hormonal spell and feel a bit more tired than usual. So there's lots of different levels to menopause tiredness. But could your tiredness be due to something else other than the menopause? Well, yeah, there's lots of different illnesses that have tiredness and fatigue as a symptom. I know that my husband, and by the way, he isn't menopausal, suffered with chronic tiredness due to type 2 diabetes. He felt utterly exhausted and, he couldn't understand what it was. But once properly diagnosed and managed, he feels he's got a lot more energy. So there are a multitude of illnesses, and I'm going to give you a list in a second, where there could be other conditions and causes that have tiredness as a symptom. So if you're concerned, as always, and as I always suggest, you do visit your GP or health professional for a checkup, because it could be one of these. It might be nothing. Who knows? And by the way, this isn't an exhaustive list. I'm just trying to give you some ideas. So other things that can cause tiredness is liver problems, anemia, chronic fatigue syndrome, cancer, infections and inflammations in the body, kidney disease, COPD, which is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, diabetes, fibromyalgia, multiple sclerosis, heart disease and heart conditions, thyroid problems, irritable bowel syndrome, sleep apnea, brain injuries, stomach disorders, depression and anxiety. They're just a few. So there's lots of reasons to get a checkup and not ignore it. And there are other issues which can cause extreme tiredness. Medications, drugs and alcohol, bereavement and grief, pain, jet lag even, excess workload and commitments, poor diet and over-exercise. So should you be concerned about menopause fatigue and tiredness? If you're one of those ladies, maybe a bit like myself, who experience menopause tiredness every now and again, well, it's not so much of a concern. However, for those women who are finding the lack of energy tough, I would start to take it more seriously. Tiredness leaves us cranky, low, tearful and out of sorts. And it doesn't just affect us either. It can affect anybody around us. Menopause fatigue can also make you feel overwhelmed and depressed and, just have no zest for life. I know some ladies who've had it so bad that they feel they've got no inclination to do anything or be around anyone. I've even heard one lady say she's been so tired that she couldn't actually get off to sleep because she was overtired. Weird. And another one, and she's perimenopausal, by the way, who says that she feels like she's back to looking after a newborn baby again. She feels like she's been up like 50 times a night. She hasn't. She's had a full sleep, but she feels that tired. So it's worth bearing in mind that menopausal tiredness is, it's not just a symptom for those who are in the full throes of menopause. It can also happen for perimenopausal and postmenopausal women. So what causes fatigue during the menopause? Well, we've got to give it to those wretched hormones again. And if you're familiar with my other blog post, you'll know that hormones, such as estrogen, along with the others, can be a real cause. And estrogen itself, it decreases throughout the menopause. And usually low estrogen means that you can suffer from fatigue and tiredness. But there are the other hormones in the mix too. There's a lot going on within your body, more than you probably care to appreciate. Sleep is also disturbed from hormones. And if you do suffer with sleep problems, go to my other posts. That's menopause and insomnia, to find out some real useful tips to help you sleep. It goes without saying that menopausal sleep problems are a major contributor to tiredness and fatigue. Hot flashes disrupt your sleep patterns, and even just some simple tips like one of my candles. A lady's had a candle and she said it's helped her out no end. But she hadn't known it before. So don't dismiss the suggestions I give, but give them a chance to work. Being in the menopause is not a time for being closed-minded, ladies. You have to actually, learn to try and find out what works for you and maybe what's worked for others and possibly could be a remedy for you. And if you're anything like me, it can sometimes be the weird and the wonderful that gives results. Why I've got the weird and wonderful body, goodness only knows. The body, well, it does an amazing job. And each day we put so many demands upon it. Add in the menopause and any other health complication. And you know what? There's little wonder why we can feel tired. Another issue that can cause tiredness is also heavy periods. Now, you may think that being menopausal is all about the absence of a period. Yes, you're correct. However, for some women, they can experience months of no periods, then all of a sudden experienced an awful one with heavy bleeding. So if you're one of those ladies who have been unexpectedly caught out, know that many women have experienced this and you're not on your own. However, heavy periods, even if they are irregular, can cause tiredness. It's important to keep your eye on low iron at this point in time. And also, if you do experience any heavy bleeding or abnormal spotting, I would like you to go see your GP or your nurse or whoever deals with that ladies' issues and that the GP surgery. Go and speak to them. I'm a great believer in that sometimes we can get some symptoms that could indicate something a bit more sinister. I'm not trying to frighten you, but you do have to be careful with cervical cancer and the like. So I want you to really keep an eye on your body. If there's something doesn't feel right and doesn't sit right with you, you get your backside straight to that GP surgery and just get yourself checked over. Another question people ask me is, how long does the menopause fatigue last during the menopause? Well, how long is a piece of string? It varies from person to person. Some women get tiredness in perimenopause and postmenopause, and some only get it in menopause. It's so hard to say how long it lasts, and it depends on whether there are any other factors. Have you got any other illnesses? What's your lifestyle like? But some adjustments can bring actually some welcome relief to many women. So how do you boost your energy? Well, one solution does not fit all with menopause tiredness. What works for one might not work for another. So I'm going to go through each of the tips in more detail. The first one is sleep. Goes without saying, poor sleep, you're going to be tired. And as I've said, if your sleep is rubbish, don't expect to be running on all cylinders. So there's some tips there on the menopause and insomnia site. See if any of those help you. Now, the next one I'm going to come to is to reduce stress and anxiety. And stress is a major contributor to tiredness, even if you're not on the menopause. When you're stressed, you're using up your energy. It's precious energy that helps you get through the day. So if you've used your energy with stress, then fatigue is pretty much going to kick in. One of the first things I would like to address is what's causing your stress or anxiety. Is it something that you can deal with and remove, or is it more complicated? Is the stress short-lived? If it is, then hopefully your energy levels will return to normal. However, constant stress and anxiety is another beast. It's another beast entirely. When you are constantly under stress and anxiety, your body feels it. You don't sleep, eat, function as you do. So wherever possible, you need to try and remove such stress. For example, if work worries are causing you stress, make sure you take this up with your employer. Now, you may think your employer's not interested, but they should be, because any decent employer will want their staff to be in a good place, both, happy, healthy, motivated, because that reflects on their business and its performance. Also, employers do care more than you think they do. I had one employer mention to me, how do we know if someone's got stress if they don't tell us? Some are so good, at masking the stress. We don't have a crystal ball. So sometimes we can be the problem. Not opening up to others can increase your stress. Here's an interesting thing. Do you know, when you're stressed, you spend so much time sometimes trying to mask your stress from others that in turn becomes more of a problem. Speak to a trusted friend, your GP or counsellor who deals with stress and anxiety. And a lot of people, men included, have said that once they've spoken to someone, they feel that a bit of the weight's been lifted. Keeping things to yourself is not the answer. It's not a proper coping mechanism. And there are very few people who can manage it all by themselves successfully. Stress and anxiety, oh yeah, it loves to rear its ugly head at night too. How many times have you had something going on in your life and you wake up in the middle of the night and suddenly the problem seems to be magnified by 1,000? Well, one tip, and this comes in the menopause and insomnia one, that a lot of people use is to keep a notepad and pen by the bed. And when you wake up and it becomes an issue, you write the problem down in a quick line or two. And somehow it seems that the simple act of writing it down is like having the issue dealt with. Loads of people have used this technique and they've said they've been able to return to sleep quicker. Don't ask me why it works. I've not the foggiest, not a clue. But it's something that works for a lot of people. The next point I want to come to is to improve the nutrients in your diet. Yeah, I know you're sick of hearing me bang on with the diet drum, blah, 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 eat well, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm not going to stop anytime soon because a rubbish diet is one of the main factors for many women suffering with menopause symptoms. You've got a diet full of fat, sugar, salt, no proper nutrition. Well, that's not going to make anyone well. A diet full of fibre, fruit and vegetables like the Med diet is going to make everyone feel better. And in countries such as Japan and China, do you know what? They've got such low rate of menopause symptoms. And this is squarely put down to diet and lifestyle. No magic pill. No, there's no magic involved here. It's simply by what they eat. I would also note at this point to people who follow a vegan diet. Now, most vegans I know have a superb diet. They eat lots of fruit, vegetable, fibre. However, there's a new breed of you vegans that I've noticed who have an appalling diet. You've got a real surge in ready meal, convenient style produce. And some of this is no better than the overproduced non-vegan foods. Be careful with what you're eating, whether you're vegan or not. Read those labels. Read all the nutrition on the back. Read how much fats and all sorts of things, even if it's like natural fats for vegans. Read everything. See what's in it. Look at the calories. Look at everything. You've got to educate yourself now as to what is in your food because it's more important than you can imagine. Like my saying is, treat your body like a Ferrari, not a garbage truck. So, keep treats as treats. Make that main food as wholesome and as healthy as possible. And if you are vegan, try and make it from scratch because I am most concerned with some of this vegan convenience food that's coming out. Blech! Don't eat it. Choose to be a proper vegan yourself and stop having all those weird substitutes. Some of them just sound awful when you look at the back. And for those who do eat meat, I want you to try and keep the red meat to a minimum. There is more to this about red meat than meets the eye. Meat meets the eye, sorry. Bad pun, I know. But I'm going to be writing more about it. I think you should always give yourself vegetarian days and swap to putting more oily fish in your diet. I probably eat red meat once a week, fish maybe once to twice, and the rest actually is vegetarian, even vegan. My treat day is Saturday, and I will indulge probably in something naughty like a cake or a slice of lemon meringue. Oh. However, habits die hard, and I still, even on my naughty day, love to snack on my nuts, my fruit, my salads and vegetables, so they feature in all of my meals, no matter what day it is. Keep an eye on that caffeine and sugar intake. Remember that they may give you a temporary boost from tiredness, but it will be short-lived. The next point is eat enough. Oh, you might raise your eyebrows on this one, but if I had £1 for every woman who did not eat enough, I would be a rich woman. Why is this? Well, there's a few reasons. Menopause tiredness can also be brought on by busy and hectic lifestyles. Yes, some women forget or they somehow don't find time to eat. They get so caught up with what they do that they miss or skip most meals. You know, I've heard ladies who've said, oh, all I've had today is a Kit Kat, and they've gone through the whole day. You know, I've been too busy. I've had relatives to look after. I've got my work. I've got the kids to pick up. Then the kids have got a club, blah, 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 blah. You know, regular healthy eating needs to be established, and that way your body won't crash and you will be able to help your tiredness. You know, you are too busy using up your energy with your hectic lifestyle and not putting fuel in your engine. I also must point out that there is a difference between intermittent fasting and having a food regime that is hit and miss with meals. The two are never to be confused. People who practice intermittent fasting usually have, it's like a super healthy, nutrient-packed meal that are planned out as to when they're eaten. You know, grabbing a bar of chocolate from the local shop, which I hear about so many of you do it, does not count. It doesn't count. The next issue, why we don't eat enough, diets and vanity. Yeah, in this world of social media, we are bombarded with unrealistic images of women. You know, those celebrities promoting brands to look like them and other influencers. You are just such a menace. The problem with many of these diets is that they're not realistic. They're fads. They won't last. They won't work. Your body isn't designed to be punished, especially during the menopause. I hear of many women now that are going on the diet in the menopause, and this is because there can be a bit of weight gain during the menopause that's difficult to shift. I get it, it's frustrating, but by eating a properly balanced diet, minimising junk and exercising, that's when you'll see results. So stop with the stupid fad diets like the drink coffee diet. Oh God, yeah, I've seen it. You buy these special coffee sachets. Oh, and you're going to turn into a stick insect overnight, ladies. Rubbish. Don't be fooled by marketing. You know, surely you lot are wise enough now to know this. There's no quick fix or easy route. Faddy diets are going to leave you tired, grumpy, unfulfilled. You may end up being a bit slimmer, but who wants to be around a skinny, miserable wreck? You need to own who you are. Oh, you might not be rocking up in miniskirts like some celeb, but why would you want to? You are not to be a carbon copy of them. Be you. Be unique. Spending all your time trying to be someone else is equally as exhausting. No wonder you'd be tired. If only you knew how much time these celebs they spend in hair, makeup, wardrobe, gyms and being catered to for their every whim. And even they get fed up of it. And after this, right, after doing all this punishment, they then get airbrushed and manipulated by some photo editor. I mean, now that's got to be debilitating. The next issue, drink plenty of water. When I ask ladies how much water they drink, oh, they go quiet. Oh, I drink tea and coffee. Does that count? Well, technically, yes. But going from experience, when I drink 8 glasses of water on top of any tea or coffee, I find I'm more alert. It not only helps with fatigue, but it's good for metabolism, weight loss, and a whole host of other bodily functions. So if there's one tip I recommend you try first for tiredness, is to up your water. Keep a check on how much you drink daily, as you sometimes forget and think that you've drunk more than what you have. And on hot days, you may need more than this. How do I know when I haven't drunk enough? I get tired. So do this one change. But I don't like drinking plain water, Emily. Well, yeah, that's a tricky one. But I'm no fan of the flavoured waters or squashes with artificial sweeteners. And I'm one of the growing army of people who think that artificial sweeteners can cause a host of other problems. Now, other people, other nutritionists would say there's no evidence. Well, I'm sorry. I actually think there needs to be more studies, more things done on artificial sweeteners. And you know what? I'm going to continue to blog about it because I don't think it's hammered home enough. However, you know, I'm going to be taking a hammer to artificial sweeteners and smashing the hell out of them. I'd rather you had no sugar, you know, than have that stuff. But still, you know, some people have their version of things and, you know, think it's all fine. However, I am very, very sceptical because some of these nutritionists are paid and are influencers, for major companies who have a vested interest. And that's all I'm going to say. So if you're addicted to diet or normal fizzy drinks as well, then you could have also stumbled across your problem. They're a real cause for concern. The odd fizzy drink, not the problem. However, many people drink them every day, sometimes a litre or more. Do you know, there was one guy who drank 3 litres of the stuff per day and then died. And they found in autopsy that his lungs had swelled 4 times the normal weight. And some of the statistics are alarming. If I had my way, I'd have massive, great big red warning stickers on every can or bottle of fizzy drink. So if you feel tired all the time, stop drinking them. See how you feel. And I did a study on this with another blog that I have, and 184,000 people were killed by sugary drinks in 1 year. And women, right, drinking 1 fizzy artificial sweetener drink per day increased their stroke risk by 83%. And that was in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition 2012. And also, Diabetes Care 2013 said that artificial sweeteners could increase diabetes. So, you make your own judgment, but I don't like those stats. Now, the next thing I'm coming on to is another one that you don't like, is exercise management. But this is actually doing too little or too much. There's a happy medium to what the body likes. Working out every single day might sound like a great idea. Not for me. But hey-ho, even athletes know that they need the lighter rest days. Give your body time to catch up. And if you are an exercise freak and won't be told, do something gentle. Go for something like Pilates or yoga instead. If you're a person that doesn't do any exercise and feel tired, this may be a problem. And it's really hard when you feel tired already to go and do something that you think will make you feel tired. But, and here's the big but, when you do exercise, it gives off good endorphins in your brain. It gives you a feel-good mood. So what I would say to you is that try and do some light exercise to start off with. You don't have to go full out at the gym. Brisk walking, maybe do some fitness classes that you enjoy. Build up, get some stamina, and then you can then move off to some sort of more exertive exercise. So it doesn't always have to be mean exercise by punishing yourself in a gym. Go do some walks, get out in the fresh air, go do like a, half an hour walk in the morning, half an hour walk at night. It's good for you. It's good for you, and it might just help you stop feeling tired. I know if I've been stuck in the studio all day or in the house, I feel exhausted, and I think it's because that you're not getting all that lovely fresh air. So, may work for you, ladies. Check your vitamin levels, often overlooked by many people who suffer with tiredness. And this is especially the case with people who do actually have a fairly good diet and regime. During the menopause, the body's going through such change. And I'm convinced we often need a little vitamin boost. Sometimes a decent multivitamin is all that many women need. And for others, the issue is a little bit more complex. As you know by now, if you've heard my other posts, you'll find that my low vitamin D was an issue for me. And even though I had a good diet, walked outside, went abroad, my vitamin D levels were unbelievably low. And it even got my consultant scratching his head. But it also answered a lot of my other symptoms linked to low vitamin D. I've done a post on that, folks, as well. Oh, yes. There's a lot on Mrs. M, so you can go and scroll down that and find out if you could be vitamin D deficient. But tiredness was one of them. And a few months on vitamin D and all the associated symptoms that I had went. And I felt better. But what else do I do? Well, as well as my vitamin D3, I take B complex, C and zinc, magnesium, glucosamine, chondroitin. So I take a few things, but it makes me feel better. Another issue could be something like low iron levels, which can lead to anemia. Now, people often know that when they have anemia because they will feel something wrong with them. They will feel extreme tiredness. A friend of mine, she has vitamin B injections now. This helps with her tiredness and sleep problems, but it also gives her that energy boost. And she's, weirdly enough, she knows when she's due to top up again because she can feel as if it's wearing off. She has the nurse give her an injection and woohoo, she goes back to normal again. So if you're unsure as to whether you could be vitamin deficient, speak to your GP, who could probably run some blood tests for you. At least it will give you some idea. The next one is to examine your work-life balance. Burning the candle at both ends? Oh yes, you wouldn't be the first. Whether you're a workaholic, someone who has a stressful job, or is doing the job of two people, all can contribute to tiredness. What you may have been doing a few years ago may now start to feel a lot harder during the menopause. So it's time to examine your work-life balance. Nobody can run on empty, and eventually your work will suffer, but more importantly, you will suffer. I can be guilty of this at times. However, now I'm a lot better at claiming more weekends to myself than I did a few years ago. And one lady I know, she spoke to me recently, said she couldn't now longer cope with full-time work hours that she was doing, but she also didn't want to be retired. So she went to her bosses, asked for some reduced hours and got them. And now she says she's actually living her best life and her energy levels have come back again. The next thing, practice self-care. Goes in hand in some way with my last point. Self-care isn't selfish and you should not be made to feel guilty. If you want tiredness and fatigue to go, you're going to have to give yourself a little TLC. Ask yourself, when was the last time you read a book, went away on a break, had a day sort of free of cooking, cleaning and running about for others, a spa treatment, met up with friends, had a day out on a picnic with your partner, I don't know, had a long relaxing soak in the bath, or did something for once that you wanted to do. These are just some basic ideas, but it's about getting enjoyment out of life with what makes you happy. We're not designed to just work like Rihanna, but to get the most out of life. If you're shattered and tired, what use are you going to be to anybody else? It's funny because we often say in the church services that I go to that Jesus doesn't want frazzled disciples and he wants us to be well. And I mention church because I know many ladies in my church circle who do so much good for their home life, their church and their community, but are bad with themselves. I say to you, your symptoms are giving you warnings. Take notice. It may be that you need to step down from a couple of things you're doing, but you will benefit from it in the long run. Remove any unnecessary responsibilities given to you. Oh, yes. The hardest word to say is no. And, I've had to do it myself. I've had to step down from roles. And one of my hardest decisions was giving up ahead of a team a short while back. You don't want to sort of step aside. You feel you're letting others down, But I sat down quietly and listed things in my life that I wanted to continue or pursue. There's things I wanted to do. And I wasn't able to do them because there was no time left. So I then made a decision to remove certain things in my life, and I can safely say it's been one of my best decisions. It's a heavy heart sometimes that I relinquished a few things, but you know what? I don't regret it one bit. And the reason I don't regret it is because I'm able to do things like this. I'm able now to concentrate on podcasts. I want to do more public speaking. I want to do a lot more things. So I'm now a bit freer than what I used to be. When I seemed to be working 24/7, 7 days a week. And if you're not careful, you can soon become a people pleaser. And pleasing everyone else and then being drained and tired in the process is no good thing for you. Your decisions to remove yourself from some responsibilities may even hack some folk off, but you know what? Don't let that deter you. You have to understand, are you truly happy continuing, or are you just people pleasing? Now, that doesn't mean you have to be selfish and start slaying your responsibilities left, right and centre. But if you're tired and needing practice and needing to do a bit more self-care, you've got to be able to prioritise what means the most to you and relinquish a few things that aren't. And if people truly care for you, they will understand. And if they don't worry your head about it. Crack on with life. That's what I say. At the moment, you need to be taking the best care of yourself. Check for other potential illnesses. Now, I said earlier before some of the things that it could be, as tiredness symptoms aren't just exclusive to the menopause. But you need to sort of get a handle of it. I know many women, myself included, who have a, oh, never mind and keep going attitude. But that's all well and good until you end up in a bigger health pickle. And I know with my faith, I'm very much, Jesus has got this. But we do have to use wisdom and knowledge within us. Whether you have faith or not, there's something called common sense, and it prevails. And sometimes it can be the simplest of tweaks in our life that we wish we'd done years ago. I wish I'd known about my vitamin D3 levels. It was a real health changer for me. Explained the tired, explained that I always got colds for majority of my life. And now that I've got my vitamin D3 sorted, I feel better. And, by the way, when others get colds around me now, I don't get half as many bugs as I used to. So it's good. So, want to come to a conclusion now. Coming to the end, I want you to ask yourself, can you pinpoint why you're tired? Are you doing too much or do you not do enough? Have you got a sedentary lifestyle? Have you got any underlying stress and anxiety? Could you have another medical condition other than it being the menopause? Is your sleep quality a good, solid 8 hours uninterrupted? Is your diet on point? And are you drinking enough water? Are your vitamins and minerals as they should be? Are you having too many foods and drinks that could disrupt sleep and make you lethargic? Are you burning the candle at both ends and taking on too much? Are you eating enough or too much? Is there a silly fad diet you're fixated on? And are your exercise levels correct? And when was the last time you practiced self-care for yourself rather than others? It's time for change. Tiredness shouldn't be there in your life, and there are people to help you. Try some of the tips on here, or go and see your GP and make sure you do something, because it could be very simple but make a whole heap of difference on your life. Well, that's it today, folks. I think it was a rather long one, but I hope it's helped you. Hope it's given you some food for thought. And remember, Mrs. M loves you, and to stay blessed. And don't forget to tune in next time. And keep well, ladies. Keep well.